Well, joining me now is multi-award winning, the man who has written the soundtrack of many people's lives, Alan Menken, a true musical theatre genius, as well as a man who has been an inspiration to so many in musical theatre. Alan, thanks very much for taking time out from your immensely busy schedule to talk to us.
You're welcome, Ian. Nice to meet you.
You have done so many things in your life that if I were you, I would be very proud of, not least being married for such a long time to your lovely wife and having two kids. But you've also been involved in writing so many great musicals, award-winning musicals. What is it in life that has made you the most proud, Alan?
Oh boy. Um that's a big question. It's the whole package. Um I think it's basically it's the things you put into the world that make a difference to people that make you the most proud. Things that make me maybe the most fill my heart the most is I think is my family and Janice um and my home and my dogs and my cats. But then I go with collaborators and all the people I work with and um, the joy of being in this room and creating um, new songs and music and scores that haven't existed before is such an amazingly fulfilling part of my life.
Well, the music that you've written is very varied, and but the songs that you're probably most noted for are the heartfelt songs, the ones with emotion. Now, I had the great good fortune of interviewing Benny from ABBA, two of my songwriting heroes, Benny and Bjorn.
Yeah,
And I asked Benny, I said, when you write a melody, does it affect you in your body? Do you feel it? Because it affects me, and sometimes I can't help when tears come out. When you write a melody, and you have written some magnificently emotional melodies, does it affect you like that? How does it affect you?
well, yes. You recognize it. Um, it's always for me it's always best obviously writing a song where I know this what the context will be for the song. um the hardest song to write will be, oh, I feel such emotion about this, I want to express that emotion. That's very universal. um and the measuring sticks for that can be very subjective. um when you work in musical theater, you have the gift of having a character, a story, a situation, a nuance, a creating a world through music that defines the whole score, and then finding that one moment that uses all of that information to hone the perfect piece in there. Um, and emotionally, yes, you want to take people first of all to a place they haven't been before, and music can tend to sort of follow the predictable path. And the idea, the goal is to find the path that we know, but then move it to a new place, whether it's tonally, whether it's in terms of the structure. Um, and one reason I like to write music first is because it will give my lyricists um, an unexpected place to go for lyrically as well, and it just helps.
That's interesting. So just like again, my heroes Benny and Bjorn, who write the music and then add the lyrics later. I wondered whether you worked from lyrics like Elton John and Bernie Taupin, or whether you wrote the melody first.
Occasionally I will do the other. Um, it I find it's more rewarding, but now I'm not going to write the music until I know dramaturgically everything I want to know about that scene, the interaction. Is there going to be dialogue coming in? Is there a moment that emotionally pivots and then so I want to create that. If it's just a matter of, oh, I wrote this nice piece of music, now, put lyrics on it and make it work, um, that wouldn't be what I do. Um, so yeah, I love writing music first, but knowing exactly the situation.
So I suppose that means that the comparison between writing a song like Under the Sea, which you knew what the setting was, presumably, that this was a joyous song in Little Mermaid about the sea and the animals, and writing in the new live action Aladdin, almost a standalone pop song. So would you have written those two songs in a very different way?
Well,
Yeah.
Speechless had a lot of nuance that was very specific to walking that line between pop um, and the musical tone of Aladdin, um, and the subject matter of female empowerment. Um, Fitting that song in was hard, actually, because that the story's not built for Jasmine to have this one big emotional explosion, so it comes in two pieces. And you carefully craft these things. In every case, I can't think of, I can barely think of any case where there's a song I go, okay, that's the song, and I just put it in. Um, Under the Sea actually is more a standalone. It's a calypso feel. You want it to be exuberant and fun, and we knew there were going to be a lot of images, so there were a lot of lyrics. So that also affected the pace of the music. And
You've done a rich variety of different types of musicals. So, like Hercules has a certain identity, Hunchback of Notre Dame has a certain identity. So, do you relish the fact that you have that
oh
different?
yeah, oh absolutely. Um, I hate when I sort of come around the corner and bump into myself again, and go, oh wait, this was a more an Alan Menken thing than of the story and of the characters. Um, I know there's an intrinsically, you know, my style of writing, as there is with so many writers who I love. And they will, even when they will work in a form, part of who they are will come through. Um, but I always want to create a world. And the projects where I find the world difficult to define are naturally the harder projects for me. There are times, however, where if you get too literal in the stylistic choice, that it sort of becomes not as interesting. The fact that Aladdin, for instance, isn't simply Middle Eastern music, it's so much through the filter of American culture and Hollywood's view of the mysterious East and all of those elements married to Arab Middle Eastern music, I think is what makes it really effective.
And yet, you name Aladdin there. I was recently on a trip to the Middle East, and Prince Ali was going through my mind, which shows what a profound effect your music has had, certainly on me, but other people like me, about how it's gone into their brains. That must make you feel very proud as well.
It does. Yeah.
What is there a melody that you've written? I mean, I can think of several that the standout Alan Menken melodies, the ones you're most pleased with.
No, I mean, yeah, the one that stands out, not the one that stands out for people is A Whole New World with the da 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 da. Da. But that again was of a very particular stylistic genre and very specific scene of being on this magic carpet. And um, when you look at Hercules, for instance, and Go the Distance, we had initially written a song for Hercules called Shooting Star. And it was a very sweet song, beautiful song, if I must say so myself. No one seems to think too much of me here, and they're glad to tell it to my face. And da da da, my shooting star, da da da, it's a beautiful song of longing, and it's too soft for that character. We said, okay, we need something more muscular, and so Go the Distance, that really informed what Go the Distance became. Um, And it's in the specificity of how it works, again, for the character, for the moment, is where the song really derives its power. Um, and it helps when a song is in the context of a musical, when people hear it, it gives them an extra texture that helps it like sort of stick to the brain more, if you will.
Are you glad then that musical theatre was the direction you went in? Because as a young boy, I know you were involved in ballet music. That's how you met your wife. And you could have gone in a completely different direction. But theatre, musical theatre is so dramatic.
Well,
Does that suit you?
what saying ballet music, it was actually a rock ballet. I basically put together all of these completely all the psychedelic rock songs that I wrote in college. That I could, if you asked me to explain what any of these songs are about, I couldn't. Um, but um, yeah, there I came out of a form that was built on sort of more of an impressionist uh, connection to music. Um, I also wanted to be I wanted to be a recording artist and a singer-songwriter. Um, and there are lifestyle choices that also enter into this. Janice and I had met early. I didn't want to tour. Um, I joined this musical theater workshop with wonderful writers. I just was fascinated by the the craft and also the quality of the songs. Especially with I was in this class with a band named Maury Aston. Maury wrote Nine and Titanic and Grand Hotel. We were still dear friends, but we really grew up together, so to speak, in through that workshop. I really met Howard Ashman through that workshop. He wasn't in it, but Laban Engel had been on the board of advisors for WPA Theater. Um, so in theater, um, yeah, there was just this extra power in. It's also the power of collaboration. Um, that in theater, you are attaching yourself to this amazing medium where the songs are just thrust forward by book, by obviously by lyrics, by um, by visuals, um, by costume, by the whole approach, and so it's like this mega. Um, what's the word? What is that?
Vision almost.
Oh, there's a people used to put them to their mouths. Senior moment. I'm blanking on
Kaleidoscope, maybe.
megaphone.
Ah.
Yeah. But it really amplifies it in an amazing way. And it's like you're building this house that others are going to live in, and you want to build it so strongly that they can interpret it as they need to, and still it will work. Um, and it really works out well. And also, frankly, in this time of digital music and streaming, live theater is a not a bad way to maintain your income from your work. Um, in a anyway, and that's why a lot of pop artists are finding their way, I think, to writing for theater.
You obviously had a great partnership with the wonderful Howard Ashman, and right that started. I know with Little Shop of Horrors, my son is an Andram performer. He's played both Seymour and the Dentist, and I know the Dentist's song will have stemmed from your own father, really, won't it?
Yeah. First, I want to correct you. Our first musical together was called "God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater." But yes, my dad was a dentist. My dad was also president of the New York chapter of the American Analgesia Society, which there was the title of dentists that promoted the use of nitrous oxide as safe. And but we couldn't figure out how is Seymour going to actually commit the first murder. Because he didn't want Seymour to go out and just kill someone. In the movie, he's out of frustration, he throws a bottle of something and it hits a bum and feeds the bum to Audrey too. But in this case, the best idea was to use the sadistic dentist. And I told Howard, I said, what about if he likes to give himself nitrous oxide and he puts the gas on because he just wants to enhance his own pleasure? Yeah, Howard thought that was hilarious. And I think I've told the story before. Of course, when my parents first heard the score, they didn't think it was hilarious, but they very quickly grew to appreciate it a lot. Because my dad was like, "What?" Um, yeah, the dentist, but also going to the dentist song, Howard had a wonderful way of getting humor by beating up his villains. Because he also beat up Gaston like crazy on the song Gaston. Doesn't meaning that they make fools of themselves with their bravado and so over the top. Then again, he has the most maybe the lovable villain ever, which in Ursula. Um, Howard was just brilliant, just amazing.
You've worked with some great people. I know recently you've been working with Lin-Manuel Miranda, who I know you've had a long-term relationship, if you like, and also Pasek and Paul, who are two of the modern great writers. The future of musical theatre seems to be in very good hands, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's amazing right now. There's an amazing number of incredibly talented people working in musical theater, and and I've been blessed to have. Right now, I'm collaborating with Nell Benjamin, who were Legally Blonde and Mean Girls, um, and I still work collaborating with Glenn Slater, Stephen Schwartz, and I just had Disenchanted this year. Um, uh, the I've been blessed with amazing collaborations.
Have you, and this is a question I've always wanted to ask you because you can probably see from the shirt that I'm wearing, I'm a big Disney fan. And I was at Walt Disney World and I've seen Happily Ever After, the fireworks show, which is effectively a medley of Alan Menken songs, which make me cry every single time. Have you seen it and does it affect you when you watch it?
Yeah, sometimes, but it's also I'll enjoy the moment, then I'll go, oh, wait a sec, that transition. Um, yeah, I enjoy it. I love the parks. Um, my newest animated movie, I have to say, is actually with Skydance and John Lasseter's new company. I'm so excited about this
Is that
one.
Spellbound?
Spellbound. It's going to come out this year. Um, I think people are going to be kind of amazed by the ambition and quality of it. But I loved working with Disney Animation. Um, and I I think there may well be some more adaptations of some of the animateds into live action. They're talking about both Hercules and I think Tangled. Um, they were talking about Hunchback. That's going to be a hard one because of the subject matter and the you know cultural sensitivities um so it's a treasured relationship. And I grew up, with Disney, and the idea that I have this role now with that legacy it's mind blowing. It really, you just go, what? Um, and it's really satisfying and wonderful.
I would
It,
suggest that whilst Walt Disney was the original curator of everything Disney, you have been the one who've taken the Disney legacy the most literally and brought it onto its majestic best. That's how I feel anyway.
wow. Well, thank you, Ian. That's very generous and nice of you. I think of myself kind of like a catalyst, a very powerful catalyst. I I wanted, certainly to channel the best of what I grew up with in Disney. Number one, it was always a safe space, a really valuable safe space. Um, and I say that it's not safe on a sort of a thought level, but on an emotional level. Um, it I it was Fantasia, I think, that really shaped so much of my wanting to be a composer because of the marriage of visuals and this, the incredible classical music. Um, and the Disney company, certainly the Disney company that I came to in the late 80s, when it was um, Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg and um, I'm blanking on his name. I feel terrible. Um, uh, they came over from Paramount, and there was this new birth, and it was up, and I think the heart center of that was actually Roy Disney, who was still the keeper of the flame, and there was this sense of from the person who cleans the gutters at Disney World to the CEO. There was a just this sense of we're all keeping the same flame, and that was an amazing time, and it felt wonderful.
Well, we all, anybody listening and watching this will think exactly the same, that they want to thank you, Alan, for everything that you've done. And please keep it going. I mean, I love everything from Gallivant to, you know, Sister Act, which is touring soon in the UK, and A Christmas Carol, which I've never actually seen on stage, but is
Well,
appearing in
we're gonna be
Australia.
opening. Yeah, I believe we'll be opening in the UK, which I'm
Yeah.
really excited about.
I can't wait to see that. Everything you do, even the song in the Avengers. I was over in California in the summer, and the Star Spangled Banner was there, and
Star Spangled
yeah,
Man with the plan.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
thinking my Alan is still doing that. What is your? I always ask my guests this. What is your favorite? Not your songs, but what is your favorite musical theatre song?
Mm. Wow. My favorite. I mean, you do know that, of course, it's like, what's your favorite child? That they can't, they're not mine, but even so, because musicals are scores. Um, so I think more in terms of score than song. Um, I'd be hard pressed to answer that question, and um,
I spoke to Mark Shaman, and he picked a bit like you're alluding to here. He picked the opening to the Gypsy score, the opening overture to Gypsy.
yeah, okay.
So you can
Um,
pick something like that if you want.
I could listen. I could go on and on. There are songs from Fiddler on the Roof that will absolutely tear me apart. There are moments in Sweeney Todd that are just, you know, throw you into just an incredible sense of excitement and emotion. Um, Chorus line, and that's a lot. Most of that's based on the concept of it, but the power of it's hard to separate the power of a show from the power of the song. And you have to be humble about the fact that your song is attached to a moment, and many people um, contribute to that moment. Um, and there's, West Side Story, uh, the power of so many of the Bernstein melodies, along with Sondheim's lyrics um, and the aching emotion of that story. But favorite song.
You're not going to pick one, are you?
Oh, no, I can't. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I mean, there's also look at the end of Act One of Dreamgirls. Now, I worked with Tom Ian. He was I love work with. He was a primitive. He was just um like an emotional gestalt of words. He and Henry Krieger were very gut level, but and but then you marry that to the character of Effie. You marry it to Michael Bennett's incredible staging. Um, so there are these moments that are absolutely transcendent. There's no Defying Gravity from Wicked. Um, and yeah, it's just I have an immense affection and respect for all of that, and it's hard you can't really judge them. They're all at their best, they are complete creations that exist in their own universe, each of them.
Well, if I was picking my favorite song by you, it could be I Can Go the Distance. It could be, I mean, I could list them all. Beauty and the
Thank
Beast,
you.
which is
You
just a
don't need to.
beautiful song, or the Crutches song from Newsies, or there's just a million of them.
Oh,
So thank you so much. I will play one of the songs that you've just been through, and the only other question I've got for you really is certainly a personal question, but I'm sure lots of your fans would love to know whether you would do this. You have actually appeared in concert in the States where you've played some of your own songs. Have you got any plans to come to the UK and do that?
I was going to do at Royal Albert Hall, and then there was some, I guess it was just issues of budget or something. I don't know, it was some sort of practical issue that made it. I think that probably will happen at some point. I would love to do it. Um, I travel less now, partly because of just nothing to do with me personally. They're just things at home that are keeping me sort of studio bound. Um, but when I do these concerts, I would love it to be just not a one off, but do a few of them because they involve a lot of preparation. So we'll see. I would love to do it. Love it, love it, love it.
I'll be on the front row if you do it. Alan, thank you so much for everything you've done for musical theatre. We honour you. Thank you. You're a genius.